Et salut tout le monde, on se retrouve dans cette nouvelle mise à jour, dans cette nouvelle version 2.8 qui est sortie aujourd'hui et dans laquelle il y a la quête d'histoire de Kazuha. Et ça fait plaisir. Parce que Kazuha, c'est un personnage en tout cas que moi je trouve très cool. Alors on l'a peut-être pas vu souvent, mais rien que le personnage et tout, les compétences, tout, je les trouve vraiment stylés. Et du coup, le personnage en lui-même est stylé quoi. Donc j'espère qu'ils ont fait un truc vraiment cool autour de lui. Hop, débloqué. Et en tout cas, on va découvrir ça tout de suite. Donc n'hésitez pas à prendre de quoi manger ou de quoi boire. On est parti ensemble, sûrement pour à peu près 1h30, comme à chaque fois qu'on fait une quête d'histoire de personnage. C'est la durée à peu près que ça dure. Voilà, retournez au... oui, c'est dans les quêtes, du coup, je l'ai débloqué. Donc c'est ça, il me semble. Une ombre pourpre sur la plaine. Acer Palmatum, je crois que c'est ça. Hein. Acer Palmatum, Acte 1, ouais, c'est ça. Ok, parfait, quête d'histoire, oui, de toute façon, ça, il n'y en a pas 50. Prévenez-vous, vous rendez près de la plaine de Byako lors de votre voyage. Ok, suivre. Oui, bon, forcément, hop, ça se trouve sur la map classique d'Asuma, ok. Et c'est là-bas. Hop, restez pas à côté. Ah non, je suis assez hype. Je suis assez hype par voilà, la quête qu'il peut y avoir autour de Kazuha. C'est cool. Et après, un peu plus tard, je ferai des invocations aussi pour essayer de le choper, je pense. Parce que même le perso en lui-même est fort, quoi. Il est fort, il est cool, il est beau. Il a tout ce Kazuha, il a tout. Allez, on est parti en tout cas. À travers champs, à travers plaines. Ça faisait quelques temps que j'avais pas relancé le jeu pour être honnête avec vous. C'est vrai que c'est toujours agréable quand même de revenir dedans. C'est beau. C'est vrai, c'est longtemps.
So many things have happened since then. Yeah, we've definitely made some progress on our journey. So, where should we go today?
C'est vrai que ça fait quoi, ça fait 2 ans qu'il existe le jeu. On en a fait des choses. Hein.
Huh? What's up?
Oh, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Hey, what the heck was that for?
Mais pourquoi il y en a qu'un? Il a une épée spéciale. Mais il est quand même nul. Oh, c'est quoi ça? C'est une attaque de Kazuha, ça, non? Un peu.
So you don't have a vision after all. Seems like I've mistaken you for someone else.
At the very least, you should make sure you've got the right person before you go attacking
Surtout que là, on lui mettait la patte.
No, wait! Even when you've got the right person, you shouldn't go attacking them out of the blue. It's dangerous.
Have you ever met someone by the name of Kazuha?
Yeah.
He carries a sword just like you. I've also heard that he possesses an animal vision.
C'est vrai qu'il est blond et tout, il est pareil. Il est juste pas habillé pareil.
That's none of your business. Never mind. You don't look like you know anything anyway. I'm wasting my time.
Ok.
What
Donc, Kazuha, il a des ampoules.
Coming around here, waving that weird sword in our faces, and he didn't even apologize. Seems like a real nutcase.
T'as raison,
Well,
Paymon, c'est pas
one
bien.
thing's for sure. No way are we telling him anything about Kazuha.
C'est notre poteau, Kazuha, il est fou.
Right? Paimon has a feeling, though, that even if this guy gets to challenge Kazuha to a duel, he won't be able to beat him. Anyway, just to be on the safe side, we should go find Kazuha right away and tell him to watch his back.
Ok, on a une idée.
What kind of hunch?
Un lien spécial avec Kazuha,
A
sûrement.
special connection? You mean beyond already knowing each other?
Sa technique de combat, mais voilà, on est d'accord, l'attaque circulaire là, c'est une attaque de Kazuha ça.
Yeah, maybe a little. But then again, most
Eh ouais,
people
eh
look
ouais les
pretty
gars,
much the same once they
faut
start
avoir l'œil.
fighting, so that doesn't really prove
Et pas l'œil
anything.
divin.
Anyway,
Oh
there's
putain,
no time
quel
to
con.
lose. Let's go tell Kazuha so we won't get into any danger.
Allez, go chercher
Paimon
Kazuha.
heard that the Crux fleet is stocking up in Rito at the moment. Let's look for him there.
Allez, on va à Ritu. Une route sans amis, c'est triste. C'est triste, mais nous on est les poteaux de Kazuha. Du coup, on va aller le chercher. Hop, Goritu. Go au port de Ritu. Hop, il doit être en train de charger son bateau. Ou alors il y est pas, mais son équipage sait où il est. Je dois lui parler aujourd'hui. Ben nous aussi. Se trouve, il est pas revenu depuis quelque temps.
Hello? Do you know where Kazuha is?
You're looking for Kazuha too, huh?
Ah.
Guess he must have done something impressive after all. Well, we took the small vessels into Rito on a routine supply run, only this time, as soon as we entered the harbor, we ran into a huge crowd of Inazumans, all of
Comment
them
ça se
wanting
fait?
to know about Kazuha. If it's because of that battle on Nizuchi Beach, Captain Beto had a great run there too, but I don't see her getting this kind of attention. Kazuha keeps to
Ah, la
himself
Beidou,
most of
elle est
the
jalouse.
time. In fact, there are times when he doesn't even listen to the captain, but she just laughs it off.
Oh, so you still don't know what he did.
I've heard bits and pieces. Something about him blocking the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. Is it really as big a deal as everyone's
C'est
making
comme
it
l'attaque
out
de
to be?
Beidou qui a éliminé Aishan.
Really? Wow. When you put it like that, it all makes sense.
Ah bah oui, il est fort, oui.
In that case, his newfound stardom is well deserved. He was called away earlier by some people from the Tenryo Commission. They said they had something important to discuss with him.
Alors, ça peut être
I
qui de
thought
la
they'd come to
commission?
arrest him at first. Turns out they couldn't have been friendlier to him. Seems like they really respect the guy.
Just a little while ago, this would have been completely unimaginable. Thank you. Guess we'll go pay a visit to the Tenryo Commission.
Allez, go à la
All
commission.
right then. I'll just stay here and carry on.
Yes, occupe-toi des passants. Tu sais faire que ça. Pff, trop nul. Alors, c'est où? C'est là-bas. On y va souvent à cette commission. On y revient toujours en fait.
Time to scout. More speed.
Ok, entraînez-vous, hein, on a besoin de soldats. Alors. Ah, il est là le cassoir. Parfait.
Oh? It's you.
Et ouais, c'est moi, et toi t'as des problèmes.
Greetings. We were just discussing the repealing of the Vision Hunt decree. Since you're here, you're very welcome to listen in on the conversation. We invited Mr. Kaidahara here to extend a gesture of goodwill on behalf of the Shogunate. Your hard work has secured for us the agreeable state of affairs that we now enjoy. Also, I've been granted the chance to correct my clan's past mistakes, and for that, I'm deeply grateful.
Eh, c'est
The
vrai
Almighty
que,
Shogun has
il y avait eu un
issued a
truc avec
large
lui.
array of directives aimed at resolving, or at least easing, the tensions that have built up over the years. The Tri-Commission has made the recommendation to use this opportunity to restore the honor of the Kaidahara name. Regarding the history of the Kaidahara clan, I trust that you're already somewhat informed?
Ouais, je sais plus
In
trop.
short, there was once a group of select bladesmiths who served the Shogun directly, responsible for upholding and further developing the traditional blade forging arts
Ok,
of
c'est
the
des
Almighty
forgerons
Shogun.
quoi.
The Kaidahara clan belonged to this class. But there came a time when some of these bladesmiths revolted and fled to Snezhnaya. Both the Kaidahara and Kamisato clans were held accountable for lax oversight
Ah ouais,
and
c'était ça.
entered a period of great turmoil. We later learned that the whole misadventure had been secretly orchestrated by the Fatui. Attributing all of the blame to the Kamisato and Kaidahara clans was neither proper nor just. Considering Mr. Kaidahara has once more made an outstanding contribution to Inazuma, the Almighty Shogun believes he should not only be rewarded for his achievements,
Ah oui,
but
le
also receive
dédommagement.
recompense for the excessive punishment borne by his clan in the past.
Alors, qu'est-ce que ça va être?
In the interest of preventing further harassment of the Bladesmith clans by the Fatui, we chose not to publicly release the findings of our investigations into these matters. We trust you can understand why this was necessary.
This is a true honor. I am delighted to be in a position to receive the goodwill of the Almighty Shogun and the
Il est
Shogunate at
stylé Kazuha
large.
avec ses petits trucs là.
However, would I be correct to assume that this magnanimous gesture does not come without some strings attached?
Eh, il est pas con.
I can assure you that nothing could be further from the truth. We seek only to correct a past injustice. With the Kaidahara clan's reputation and occupation restored, the Kaidaharas will be bladesmiths once more, and your wanderings will finally come to an end. you will be able to lead a safe and prosperous life in Inazuma City with the almighty Shogun's blessing and full support of the
Il
Shogunate.
va falloir leur faire des
I
armes, des
have
trucs
grown
comme ça.
accustomed to life among the elements. I fear I would no longer feel at home behind the tall walls of a stately abode. Yet my ancestors did indeed take great pride in the name of Kaedahara, and the art of blade making for which it stood. I
Ouais.
do have a responsibility to restore
Tu vas
their
pas finir
honor.
juste forgeron à
I
rien faire.
sense some hesitation in your words. Should you accept this offer, I imagine many of the malicious rumors currently circulating through the populace will disappear.
Malicious
Ouais, quelle
rumors?
rumeur parce que...
All we heard on the way here was so much praise that we almost wondered whether there was another Kaedahara Kazuha in town.
Well, to some, the Muso no Hitotachi is something that can never be defeated. They cannot accept the idea that Mr. Kaedahara really parried the Shogun's strike. Also, eyewitnesses saw him using the power of Electro in addition to that of Animo. As a result, the falsehood that Kaedahara Kazuha was using a delusion began to spread.
Ah merde.
What? But that doesn't make sense. Using a delusion turns you old and frail, and Kazuha still looks fine.
Il y
That
avait
is
juste
correct.
deux personnes en même
However,
temps.
to some people, the idea of a single person wielding two elements at once is a more inconceivable notion still.
This is just one of many similar rumors. I am very uncomfortable with being the subject of public discussion, no matter whether it brings suspicion or stardom my way.
Ouais,
But
il est mal à l'aise.
perhaps if the Shogunate is willing to publicly support me, this situation will blow over more quickly.
This is precisely why I encourage you to give our offer some serious thought.
Sinon, viens avec
It
nous, on va
stands to
enquêter,
benefit all of us.
comme on fait tout le temps.
Please allow me some time to consider. In fact, let us put this discussion on hold for the moment. Well then, what brings
Bah,
the two of you
justement, il y a
here?
quelqu'un qui t'aime pas trop.
Yikes! We nearly forgot about the most important thing!
Why would such a dangerous individual be looking for me? No, this puzzles me as much as it does you.
Ouais, c'est bizarre.
My fighting forms were taught to me by my family, based on techniques originally developed for blade testing. We undergo rigorous training to standardize every motion the blade is put through, so that each can be fairly assessed for quality.
Ouais,
Over
apparemment, c'est
time,
un
these
forgeron
techniques came to form
qui
something
teste
of a Kaedahara sword art,
ce qu'il a fabriqué, quoi.
focused on blade testing, but with a full repertoire
Mais
of
du coup, ouais,
combat
bah oui,
forms.
ils utilisent les
Those
compétences, les
forms
machins
are quite
pour
different
vérifier que
from
ça
the more
fonctionne bien.
practical ones typically used by samurai in battle. So it's hard to imagine that the similarity you speak
Donc
of
soit
was
c'est un autre apprenti,
coincidence alone.
sûrement même, ça doit
All
être
the
un
more
autre apprenti.
reason to watch your back! This guy was a serious nutcase.
Indeed, he sounds highly aggressive. Anyone he targets is at risk of serious injury.
Bah j'avoue,
Or
heureusement que nous on
worse.
est fort, quoi.
In that case, I will send some men out immediately to search for him.
Thank you.
Franchement, on s'en charge.
I must say I am now very curious about this matter, and I will also need some time to consider your offer. I will first join the traveler in investigating the one who attacked him,
Voilà, ça c'est bon.
then give you a conclusive answer upon my return.
Very well. Please stay safe.
Come on,
T'inquiète, on stay
let's go
safe.
and track down your aggressor.
Bah c'est simple, on a qu'à se balader en ville et puis...
The detective agency knows the most
Il viendra
about
à
what
nous.
goes on in town.
Ok, on peut sortir. Sûrement.
Let's see what Ryuji has to say.
C'est quoi la suite? Quoi? Oh non, un personnage est impliqué dans une autre quête. Impossible d'effectuer cette quête. C'est Ryuji est impliqué dans la quête l'affaire du Banton Sango. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Ah ok, c'est une quête journalière. Bon, ça va aller vite. Je vous cut là et je vous reprends dès que j'ai fait cette quête. Ok les gars, c'est bon. Donc la quête journalière qui me bloquait, c'est fini. Donc voilà, on peut parler à Ryuji pour demander plus d'informations. Pour empêcher les assaillants de faire plus de victimes, machin truc, décide de le démasquer. Ouais voilà. Ok. Allez, on continue la quête de Kazuha.
Hey there! We'd like to ask you a quick question. Do you know if anyone around here has been looking for him? For Kaedahara Kazuha, we mean.
Aha! So this is the renowned Mr. Kaedehara.
Bah oui,
I've
évidemment,
heard
lui,
a
il a
lot
entendu
about
parler
you.
aussi.
It is an honor to finally meet you today.
You are too kind. We are currently investigating an assault and would appreciate any help you can offer.
Oh? You were targeted in an assault? Let me think. I can't seem to recall anything of immediate interest.
T'es un détective, t'es censé tout
Mr.
savoir.
Kaidehara is currently the talk of the town, so there are always a lot of people looking for him. To be honest with you, our detective agency has recently been receiving many inquiries from people wishing to obtain Mr. Kaidehara's personal information.
Ah, mais ça se trouve, c'est
Some of them were
le mec
offering
qui a
us
attaqué
millions of
qui demande à
mora just to
l'agence.
gather the information they want.
Ah oui.
If these were more legitimate commissions, Sango would have snapped them up in an instant.
Millions? Of Mora? Whoa! Oh, wait. Even at that price,
Reprends-toi,
you
Payman.
probably still shouldn't.
Please, accept my thanks for looking out for my privacy.
Of course. No matter what, we only take on legitimate cases. We don't make our money by revealing details of other people's
ils
day-to-day
sont sérieux.
life just for the sake of it.
Après des millions de mois.
Sorry, I got a little off topic. What I'm really trying to say is, it doesn't surprise me that a complete stranger is looking for Mr. Kaedehara. But I wouldn't know where to begin if we want to connect this with an assault.
Then let's put that connection aside for now. Have there been any other attacks or similar incidents recently that stand out as particularly unusual? The Tenryou Commission had very few leads. I thought you might have some information from different sources.
Ok, il va nous sortir un
It's
truc.
true that the commissioners aren't clued up about every little thing that goes on out in the streets. But typically, it's only the most trivial events that manage to escape their attention. If anyone had been out there attacking people, that would be assault, in which case the Tenryou Commission would absolutely get involved.
Donc en fait, l'autre, il attaque que s'il est sûr que c'est Kazuha. Et là, il nous a vraiment confondu
Looks
avec
like
lui.
the trail's already run cold.
I still find it difficult to believe that whoever attacked you hasn't been causing any trouble elsewhere.
Ouais, c'est vraiment Kazuha qui veut.
Few
Donc,
people possess your prowess in battle.
nous, c'est vrai qu'ils se ressemblent un peu.
So unless you were the first person he targeted, someone is certain to have been hurt by now. I am well aware of your talents. There is no need to be humble around me. In fact, I'm quite relieved that you were the one he targeted.
Après, c'est vrai
It would
qu'un
cause me
mec
great
blond
grief to see someone
avec une
become
épée à la main,
critically
mais un peu
injured
pecno,
or
qui sait pas
lose
trop s'en
their
servir,
life because of me.
doit rien avoir, je
For the
suppose.
poor victim, this would be a completely senseless crime.
Don't worry, we'll find him.
It seems you are every bit the selfless hero they make you out to be, Mr. Kaedehara.
Franchement, moi je pense qu'on va se balader
Surely
où on
this
était tout à
same
l'heure.
concern for your fellow man is
Il va
what
re- il
drove
va
you to
revenir.
fearlessly raise your blade against the almighty Shogun.
You flatter me. Truth be told,
You
Merde,
are
il allait parler
much too
encore.
humble. Don't worry, I completely understand your concerns. I will try my best to gather whatever leads I can for you. Oh,
Ok, il est cool.
actually, there was one strange incident over the last few days. It doesn't involve an attack, though. Let me tell you about it just in case.
Ok, vas-y.
sure. During times like this, the more information we have, the better.
All right then. Recently, two people went missing from the city at around the same time. One of them is a pretty well-known collector, surnamed Nagato. The other, Amenoma Yuya,
Un
is a samurai
samouraï.
from the Amenoma clan.
Ah, c'est peut-être intéressant ça.
Amanoma. Now there's a
Oui,
familiar
on
name.
en a parlé tout à l'heure.
Right. Yuya is the nephew of Amenoma Togo, the owner of Amenoma
Voilà, la
Smith.
forge. Donc,
Two grown men going missing at the same time. Their cases are likely connected, but
ok,
I
donc
don't know
c'est
much
pour ça
in the
qu'il
way
connaît
of
un peu les techniques
details.
de
I
Kazuha.
recalled this because Amenoma Yuya is also an accomplished martial artist who is skilled with the blade. Perhaps he is the one you are looking for.
Putain, il pouvait pas le dire plus tôt.
Understood.
C'est
So
vachement
it
intéressant.
seems highly unlikely to me. I neither know this man, nor do I have any idea why he may wish to attack me.
Sure, can't hurt. We never know what we might find out along the way.
Thank you, Ryuji. We'll start by making some inquiries at the Amenoma smithy.
Ouais.
Sounds good.
Go voir les forgerons.
All the best with your investigation. I'll get moving shortly myself.
Yes. Alors, c'est juste à côté. Salut mec. Ah oui, ça c'est le papy.
Ah, If it isn't Kaedehara Kazuha, what brings you here
Il a
today?
ce coup de masse.
You two know each other?
Yes, the Kaedehara and Amenoma clans were both members of the Raiden Gokaden. Historically, there have always been deep links between the two clans. After I
Donc ça
returned
renforce
to
le fait qu'il veuille attaquer lui.
Inazuma, I visited Mr.
Ouais.
Amenoma to pay my respects. Yes, you may recall the story of the Raiden Gokaden from the Iridori Festival.
Though all bladesmiths trace their craft back to the same source, over time, each of us has arrived at a different blade-making philosophy, spawning the development of different branches of the same art.
Donc les attaques et tout,
As
quand
an
même, elles se
example,
ressemblent.
the Amenoma art strives to emulate the abiding patience and determination of water as it turns stone to sand. There is nothing mystical to our work. There is only practice, day in
Ah ouais, alors
and day
que
out, until both body
les
and
autres,
mind have
ils
memorized
utilisent
the
vraiment les
craft,
armes.
turning each motion of every technique into an intrinsic part of the bladesmith's life. As for the art of the Kaedehara clan, I believe it's called the
La
Ishin
Ishin.
art.
That's right. Ishin art strives for complete harmony between blade and mind
Voilà,
from
le
the
cœur et
moment
l'épée font
that
un.
forging begins.
Faut se
For only a
lier.
blade thus forged can capture and convey its maker's thoughts and feelings, and eventually become an extension of its wielder's
Ouais,
will.
ok, c'est compliqué en fait.
Indeed. Most samurai choose their blades, but an Ishin blade
D'accord.
chooses its owner.
C'est un peu comme
You
la baguette
are,
magique dans
without
Harry
a
Potter.
doubt, the most worthy wielder of an Ishin blade. It gladdens my heart to see that although the Kaedehara clan has fallen on hard times, its ideals and virtues are alive and well.
Le clan
You
Kaedehara, en fait,
overestimate me.
ils font une
My
épée
actions are guided by my own
qui
personal
s'adaptera
sentiments,
à un mec.
not by any noble
Alors que
aspirations
l'autre
on
clan, ils
behalf
font des
of my
trucs, les
clan.
épées qui peuvent
But
s'adapter un peu
let's
plus
get
aux
back
gens.
on topic. The purpose of our visit today is to gather some information on your missing nephew. We hope to
Mais
assist
celui qui
with
nous
the
attaquait, il avait une épée
investigation.
carrément
It may turn out that this
avec des
case is
étincelles et tout, genre.
connected to another we are pursuing.
électrocutée.
Ah yes.
Ah, mais du coup,
My
c'est lui
nephew.
qui maîtrise les deux éléments, qui a un œil maudit.
I reported the case to the Tenryo
Celui qui nous a
Commission,
attaqué, il fait de
but I
l'air et en
haven't
même temps
heard
de
anything
l'électro.
back
Ah,
so
je
far.
j'avais pas
He
compris.
didn't say a word before he left, which is very unlike him. I'm still completely at a loss on what to make of it, but I've done what I can so far. Worrying is futile. All I can do now is wait for the news from the Tenryo Commission.
We heard that there was a collector involved in the disappearance too. Know anything about that?
Yes. On the morning that Yuya went missing, he gave me a very cryptic look and said that he was going to give me a great gift.
Ah, et est-ce que tu l'as eu le
I
cadeau?
believe he went to collect the item from Mr. Nagato after that. The next thing I heard was that a fire had broken out at the warehouse.
Ouais.
Yes. Strange, isn't it? I wonder what could have caused it. Unfortunately, there was very little evidence left behind, so nobody knows what really happened.
Do you have any thoughts on what Yuya may have wanted to give you?
If I had to guess, it must have been some kind of rare weapon. Otherwise, there would have been no reason for him to get my hopes up. He's never been particularly interested in blade forging, but has always had a fondness for blade testing,
Ouais, lui, il aime
and can
essayer les
sense
épées.
even the most minute
Il aime se
differences in
battre.
blade quality. He is extraordinarily talented in martial arts, particularly when it comes to the art of the sword.
Truth be told, we have some information that you may find to be objectionable. The person we are looking for, he attacked this friend of mine. Based on the evidence we have gathered so far, only Yuya seems to match the suspect's profile.
What? No. Absolutely impossible.
Ah, mais il est possédé.
Yuya is not that kind of person. He is humble and kind. Even his training is done with the goal of calming his mind. He has never gotten into a
Pour
fight
calmer
before.
son esprit.
Is
Déjà, ça veut
that
dire qu'il a besoin de
so?
se calmer.
Yes. If there's one thing I can say for certain, It's that Yuya would never draw his blade without a very good reason. But, with that said, it's equally out of character for him to just disappear,
Et
with
ouais,
neither farewell nor fair warning.
ça fait beaucoup
I
d'indices.
also cannot know what course of action he might be capable of if coerced, or otherwise compelled by circumstances unbeknownst to me. Anyway, should you find him, please let me know as soon as possible.
Don't worry.
Ça
You
marche.
have our word.
From the sound of that, Paimon doesn't think Yuya was the one who attacked us as well.
Si, justement.
Yes. It sounds as if something happened when the two men met each other. Let's pay a visit to the Nagato household.
Oh, lui là, il est en train de faire une épée. Je pense que là, c'est une crêpe son épée. Arrête de taper dessus au même endroit. Ah ouais, elle est toute fine là. Faut la tourner. Faut la tourner, après tu la chauffes, après tu la trempes dans un seau. Comme dans les films. Il n'y a même pas de seau d'eau. Comment il fait? Il n'y a pas de seau d'eau. Oh, ça c'est les... C'est les brutes. Bref. 160 mètres. Ça c'est quand même... Il y a toujours un truc qui me manque, je trouve, dans Genshin, c'est la population. Il y a quelques personnages et tout, mais ça serait cool qu'il y ait encore un petit peu plus de monde. Ça ferait pas de mal. Ça ferait vraiment pas de mal. Sentir un peu plus de vie, quoi. Parce qu'il y a des petits groupes à chaque fois et tout, mais je sais pas, pour y en avoir plus. Normalement, je suis bien en danse et tout, là. C'était en quoi, divers? Bloquer, lecture, verrouiller, ressources, compte. C'est là-dedans. Densité de la foule élevée. Bah ouais. Bon, c'est pas grave. Un petit détail, mais... Moi j'aime bien dans les jeux quand t'as vraiment l'impression qu'il y a un vrai village avec pas mal de monde et tout. Mais bon, ça enlève pas grand chose non plus au jeu, hein, faut pas... C'est un détail.
I'm very sorry, but we cannot afford to pay what we owe right now.
Quoi?
My husband has gone missing, and I'm still trying to find
Ah non,
him.
mais on t'a rien demandé.
No, no.
Stress pas.
You misunderstand us. We are here to help with the investigation. We'd like to ask you some questions about Mr. Nagato's disappearance, if we may.
Ah, I see. I thought the debt collectors had come to visit again.
Ah non, t'inquiète pas.
I'm sorry you have to see me in this dreadful state.
Bon, par
Has
contre...
some new information come out? Do you know where he's gone?
Attends, je laisse finir. On en parle que... C'est un peu cliché encore, ça. Hein. Le cliché de le mari il est plus là, il y a toutes les dettes qui tombent et on peut plus rien payer en 3 jours. Parce que la dame, eh ben, elle fait rien. Bon, bref.
I'm afraid we don't have any new information at the moment. We're still trying to find out as much as we
À chaque
can
fois, il y a ce
to
truc de quand
inform
le
our
mari
search.
disparaît, il y a des dettes.
With this in mind, can we perhaps ask some questions about your family's current situation?
For example, Paimon's struggling to understand why a collector would be strapped for Mora.
That's a long story. Ever since I've known him, he's been an avid collector of all sorts of things.
Ah, il collectionne que des trucs qui
He'd
n'ont
always
pas de
get
valeur.
so animated when he was showing them to me. I knew nothing about the items myself, but seeing how enthusiastic and excited they made him, I was happy to believe that they were just extremely important to him. Everything was fine when we first got married, but as time went by, things changed for the worse.
Uh-oh, what happened?
He lost his sense of restraint. He started buying more and more things, and even resorted to borrowing money just so
Ah oui,
he could
ok.
pay for them. Our expenses really spiraled out of control when he started getting interested in weapons. It was awful. There were days when he'd spend hours down at the warehouse, admiring his weapons even as debt collectors were descending upon
Ok,
our
il était
house.
fan des épées lui
He
aussi.
wouldn't sell them, wouldn't even touch them. Just sat there staring at them like he was in a trance. I'm happy he has a hobby, and I'm willing to support him. But making ends meet has to come first. I've tried talking to him about it so many times, but he never listens. On the last day that I saw him, I gave him an ultimatum. I said, if he refused to sell his collectibles and pay off his debts, I would divorce him and take the children with me.
Ah oui.
Whoa!
And that led to an argument.
Actually, it didn't. Generally, he's a quiet man who likes to go with the flow. On most things, he leaves the decision-making to me. You must understand, I never would have dreamed of threatening him with divorce if the debts hadn't pushed our family to the brink.
Dernier
After I
recours.
said those words, he froze and was silent for a long time. When he finally spoke, he awkwardly mumbled that he would pick
Ok,
out a
il
few
voulait
items to
quand même
sell.
vendre un truc.
His voice was so meek and pitiful that I felt an urge to take everything back. But then what? If I didn't draw the line, what would happen to our family?
Ouais, faut
Had
des
I
limites.
not indulged his bad habits, we wouldn't have found ourselves in such a predicament. And I also don't know if he had actually come to his senses, or if he was simply angry with me. The next thing I heard was that our warehouse had caught fire, and both he and the buyer had gone missing.
I see.
Pourquoi il y avait bien l'acheteur?
I understand. Amin Omayuya came to purchase a weapon from Mr. Nagato. During the sale, a fire broke out at the
C'est quoi
warehouse,
ce bazar là?
and both men disappeared.
C'est plus
At
compliqué
first,
qu'il n'y
I
paraît.
assumed they must have gotten into an argument over the price. But my husband has never been one to negotiate. He never even haggles when he's out buying groceries, so it's hard to imagine him getting into a fierce argument.
Maybe he was feeling the pressure from the debts?
I don't know. He just disappeared after the warehouse burned down. Perhaps he's too afraid to come home now that all his collectibles have been lost in the fire, and he's got no way to pay off our debts. Even though I'm still a little mad at him, we're a family, and I want us to face our family's crisis together. As long as he's willing to turn over a new leaf, I know we can work things out.
Please don't get upset. There could be more to this situation than meets the eye. If collecting things is a
complexe,
habit
la
that
situation.
Mr. Nagato had his whole life, it is quite unusual for this habit to change so drastically over a short period. But the information we gathered from the other side suggests Ame-no Mayuya is also a mild-mannered man who would not be likely to start an argument. This situation is getting a little confusing.
A little confusing? More like completely mystifying.
Ah, c'est le bordel là, il veut le dire.
Let's try a change of scenery and see if we can piece together what we've learned. Rest assured, we'll notify you if we find anything.
Thank you so much. I just want him to come home.
On va faire de notre mieux.
Based
Okay.
on the information we've gathered so far, I can only surmise that the sales meeting between the two men was somehow the catalyst for their disappearance. The
Effectivement.
fire at the warehouse likely played a part in how the situation unfolded, though its exact role is a mystery. Do you have any thoughts?
Bah, que c'est le bordel, hein.
Well, Paima was thinking that maybe someone accidentally knocked
Okay,
over an
Paimon.
oil lamp and,
Ok, vas-y.
never mind. Paimon's brain needs to rest for a while. Over to you.
L'incendie a peut-être été utilisé pour cacher la vérité. Ouais, il manque des infos là, hein,
I
clairement.
very much agree with you. It seems highly likely that we're missing a piece of the puzzle. Working off what we know so far, there are too many things that don't add up. The chances are that there are still some clues left for us to discover. One fact that I keep coming back to is that Ame-no Mayuya is polite and well-mannered, while Mr. Nagato is introverted and passive.
Ah, c'est ça le truc. Donc il y a eu un
Neither
facteur
seems
X.
like the type of person who is inclined
s'est intégré dans le
towards
truc et-
initiating conflict. Mr. Nagato,
Et ça a
being
foutu la
heavily
merde.
in debt, is also the only one of them with the potential motive to disappear after the fire. The more I ponder it, the more puzzling it becomes. Just what could have happened there? Right. Although the time frame seems to broadly match, no other details that we've learned seem to link the two events together. Amenoma Yuya lacks a key distinguishing feature of the attacker, namely that he is principally a practitioner of the blade testing techniques of Amenoma art, not those of the combat-oriented Ishin art.
Darn!
Ouais,
We thought
ouais.
we could get two birds with one stone here, but at this
Eh non, c'est pas aussi simple, hein, c'est pas aussi
starting to
simple.
look like a wild goose chase.
Let's keep going, since we've come
Ouais,
this
on
far.
va continuer à enquêter, c'est plus
If
simple.
we can solve the case, both Mr. Amenoma and Mrs. Nagato will be able to get some closure.
Okay, but where should we go now?
Let's head out of the city and check out the warehouse. There's still a chance we may be able to find some shreds of evidence.
Ouais, faut aller voir l'entrepôt qui a brûlé en vrai. Hein. C'est le mieux. Alors, l'entrepôt. Hop, il est là-bas. Désolé les poteaux, des fois il y a des... je le vois sur le retour. Des fois il y a des petits freezes. Enfin des petits freezes. En gros il y a des baisses de FPS. Genre là c'est bon. Mais parfois genre c'est un peu comme si c'était genre à 30 FPS au lieu de 60 ou je sais pas combien. J'arrive pas. Et je pense que c'est juste le fait que mon PC en fait il surchauffe. La carte graphique elle chauffe pas mal. Vu qu'il fait chaud et tout en plus c'est la merde. Donc désolé si parfois il y a des baisses de FPS.
Wait.
Bon. C'est peut-être pas forcément super gênant, mais
I hear
je
something
préfère vous le dire.
ominous in the wind.
Oh! This must be another one of those sounds that only you can hear. As sketchy as
perçois un son.
that whole thing seems, you did put it to good use when we were chasing down that vision thief at Beto's tournament, so...
Ah bah oui, on peut s'y aller, oui.
Now I'm picking up a strong scent in addition to the sound. It's right around here somewhere.
Ok.
But there's nothing here.
It's gone now, but I can still sense the direction it left
Ah,
in.
course-poursuite.
It felt very much like that ancient presence in Inazuma. The remnants of the Tatarigami.
Ça ressemble beaucoup au... Ah ouais, le Tatarigami.
Indeed. But this unexpected spring of inauspicious energy may prove to be of benefit to our investigation. We should remain vigilant and approach slowly.
Ok. Oh, il y a une trappe. Non.
So it's an underground warehouse.
The force is definitely coming from down below. The source of the Tatarigami energy has long since left this place, but the residue it left behind still hasn't dissipated completely.
Ok.
Judging from the concentration, I would have to conclude that the Tatarigami source resided here for a very long time.
Mrs. Nagato said her husband used to hang around the warehouse by himself a lot.
It could well be that he was already under the influence of Tatarigami energy at that time. From what I've been told, Tatarigami does not turn all upon whom it preys into violent
Ah oui,
monsters,
d'accord.
but most will develop a stubborn streak upon being exposed to the Tatarigami's unfulfilled will,
Ouais, ils sont pas
Their
méchants, mais
interests
obsessionnels.
become fanatical obsessions. Mr. Nagato had an interest in collecting to begin with. The influence of Tatarigami could explain why he became an obsessive hoarder,
Ah bah oui, évidemment.
amassing more and more possessions, even as he put himself
Obstiné
in
à
grave
avoir une
debt.
grosse collection.
So what should we do now? Go down and take a look?
Bah ouais.
Step back. I'll open the door and take a look inside.
Ok, vas-y cowboy.
If we don't open this door, we can move no closer to the truth. You needn't worry. Both of us have faced far greater dangers than this. Relatively speaking, the risk here is trivial.
Ok. Bah alors.
What's down there?
Everything's buried in debris. I can't see anything.
Ah bah super.
It looks like the fire caused a cave-in, reducing the entire warehouse to rubble.
That was too scary! Paimon was so sure that the warehouse boogeyman was about to jump out at us!
All we
Ah, ça
can
aurait
do
mis de
now
l'action,
is
un peu.
keep searching in the direction that the Tatarigami energy source left this place. 2 ordinary humans,
Ok.
entangled with the Tatarigami.
Go renifler la source et
I fear much
aller
misfortune
au point de
has
départ.
already befallen them. Yes, let's go. If nothing else, it's vital that we find out where this Tatarigami energy is coming from. Quiet your mind and focus on what you sense around you. Perhaps you
Détecter une
too
aura étrange.
will
Ok.
perceive its ominous presence in the wind.
Ok, ok. Suivez l'odeur et trouvez des indices. Je suppose en faisant ça là. Non? Suivez l'odeur. Ah ok, effectivement on la voit bien l'odeur. C'est imposant comme odeur, hein. C'est dégueulasse. Cornier.
From this point, the trail appears to split into 2. The main source of the Tatarigami energy continued on into the distance, but a small portion remained here and seems to be dissipating slowly. Quite possibly. Let's
Ok,
search
commençons
the
à
area.
chercher. On continue à suivre.
Look at all those hilly churls. They're acting really strangely.
À gauche.
Something seems to be
Je pense
drawing
qu'il y a
your
rien.
attention.
Ah oui, ok.
Let's take
il y
a
a le
closer
bateau.
look.
Avec un petit ulti.
Shudder!
Ok, il y a d'autres ennemis, heureusement.
Beg for mercy.
Ok.
It's
C'est quoi?
Look at this red stuff. What is it?
by the looks of it, a letter written on a piece of torn clothing. The ink is bone dry. It must have been written quite some time ago. Well, let's take a look.
Vas-y. Waouh, je m'appelle Nagato. J'ai été blessé par Yuya. Il a pris ma plus précieuse lame. Ah ouais, je l'ai poursuivi, mais je n'ai pas pu l'attraper. Je me suis allongé ici pour me reposer, car j'étais épuisé. J'ai cru que j'allais y rester, mon ventre n'arrêtait pas de saigner. Mais il semble qu'une force étrange me soit venue en aide. Oh, il a été soigné par une force obscure. Pourquoi s'est-il emparé de ma lame? Je lui ai pourtant bien dit que j'allais lui vendre. Il a même mis le feu à mon entrepôt. Ok, donc c'est bien l'autre qui a mis le feu là. C'est bizarre, le Yuya là. La douleur est insupportable. Qu'est-ce que ça fait mal? Mais je ne peux pas perdre conscience. Tout ce que je peux faire pour garder ma concentration et d'écrire ces mots. Que va-t-il arriver à Sachiko, Yushi et Yuji? Ouah, la galère. Ce n'est que maintenant que je réalise à quel point je m'obstinais à suivre la mauvaise voie. J'ai dû être ensorcelé. Ah, bah, peut-être. J'ai amassé cette multitude d'objets loufoques et pourtant je n'en ai tiré aucun bonheur ni aucun réconfort. Toutes ces possessions mises ensemble ne valent même pas une seule parole sortie de sa bouche. Il parle de sa femme, je suppose. Merci et désolé de t'avoir laissé tomber, Sachiko. Ok, donc lui il s'est bien fait poignarder par le forgeron là. C'est bizarre parce que le forgeron normalement il est pas méchant.
According to this letter, a conflict arose because Amenoma Yuya wanted to seize a blade belonging to Mr. Nagato. Yuya started the fire that destroyed the warehouse and wounded Mr. Nagato in the fight. Mr. Nagato kept chase as long as he could, eventually stopping here to write this letter when his strength gave out.
So, where is he?
He was
Hey.
not only mortally wounded, but also under the heavy influence of Tatarigami. Add to that the fact that its aura seems to have attracted a horde of monsters.
Non,
and
mais Laura, elle
I'm
a sauvé
afraid
sa
he
vie.
may no longer be with us. Whatever traces there may have been of his fate beyond after this point, they've since been disturbed by the hilly churls. There's nothing more for us to find here. Yes, right now we need to uncover some more important
Ah oui.
truths.
Il nous faut la vérité.
If Amenoma Yuya is attacking other people indiscriminately, then the longer we take to find him, the more people risk meeting the same tragic end.
Et ça c'est pas cool.
So let's get moving.
I wouldn't be surprised if he too fell prey to the influence of the Tatarigami.
Non mais c'est sûr.
For a practitioner of the martial arts,
C'est la
the
Tarigami qui
easiest
fout la
desire
merde.
to inflame would be their pursuit of further power and skill. All the clues that at first seemed disparate and disconnected, it seems that now we know the thread that runs between them. I have a hypothesis that, if it's correct, not only explains the series of events leading to the two men's disappearance,
Ok.
but also zeroes in on the attacker's identity.
Wait, you figured it out? So these two cases are connected after all?
I believe so. But it's something of an outlandish idea. I will only be able to confirm my suspicions once we've met him in person. On with the search. We must stay vigilant. At any point now, we may find ourselves in danger.
Ok. Ok, ok. Continuez à suivre l'odeur pour trouver... Donc là, faut prendre les cercles. Ouah, il y en a partout. Il y en a vraiment partout. Hop là, faut s'envoler. Ouais, je vois que ça marchait pas. J'aurais eu le démon.
Time to scout.
Wouhou. C'est génial. Ok, une barque. Il a essayé de prendre la fuite. Mais il a pas réussi.
He seems to have stayed here for a long time.
Why here? Is there anything special about this place?
I'm not sure. But on closer examination, I sense that the aura may have lingered here at several different points in time.
Ah, plusieurs reprises.
Show yourself. It's no use hiding anymore.
Ok. Ah, c'est bien lui qui nous a agressés.
Kaidehara Kazuha. It's you, at last.
Aha! So it is the same guy from before.
C'est le méchant, exactement.
Problem, huh? What could you possibly have against Kazuha?
Indeed, there should be no enmity between us. If it is Ame no Meyuya that stands before us. But what if instead of facing Ame no Meyuya, we are in fact facing the blade
Ah,
in
c'est
his
l'épée
hand?
qui le rend comme ça.
Now
Elle est
that
trop- elle
you
est trop stylée, en
mention
tout
it, it is giving off a strange light. Whoa! Surely you don't mean... Are you serious?
Tatarigami energy often lodges itself within physical objects, then works to subtly affect any living organisms in its vicinity. The blade has resided in Mr. Nagato's warehouse for many years,
Bon, en fait, il avait une épée qui valait
affecting his state
un
of
paquet de
mind,
moras, je pense.
and more recently using the sail as a means to affect, or rather, as a means to occupy, Ame no Meyuya's body.
You're sharper than I thought. You've already deduced the truth of the matter.
Bah, c'est simple.
Many, many years ago, I was forged by a famed bladesmith of the Ishin tradition. I was his pride and joy. In me, he placed all his hopes and dreams.
On va se battre ou pas?
As a descendant of the Kaidehara clan, you should be able to guess our greatest regret.
I presume it has something to do with the Raiden Gokaden.
Indeed. At that point in time, he failed to live up to the Raiden Shogun's expectations. In the end, all he could do was to flee the nation by sea on a ship bound for Snezhnaya. He
Snezhnaya.
was a bladesmith of great renown, a master of his craft. There was nothing that he could not accomplish. All he needed was more time and a little faith. And sure enough,
Du coup, c'est quoi?
in the end, he
Il s'est
achieved what
retranché, il a
he'd
créé une
set out
épée de
to
fou.
do. All of his life's work, his wisdom, his skill,
Ah ouais,
it
voilà, c'est ça.
culminated in his creation of me. He not only bestowed upon me the greatest of strength, but also endowed me with a consciousness of my own. In her conceit, the Raiden Shogun lost not only the single most perfect blade in the entire world, but also an irreplaceable achievement
Bah,
in
elle est
the
vraiment
art
stylée, hein.
of blade forging.
So... swords can become conscious and control people?
The people of the time in which I was born never believed I had that kind of power. They saw me as a mere blade, a sharp and well-crafted one,
Eh
but
bah
in
oui.
all other respects an ordinary weapon. After the death of my creator, I decided to leave Snezhnaya and began my long quest to return to the distant land of Inazuma. Moving from one person to the next, I
En gros, il peut,
controlled the minds of countless hosts
l'épée là, elle
along
peut
the
quand même,
way,
je suppose, tuer
each
son
bringing me
porteur
one step
pour
closer
atterrir dans les mains
to
d'un
my
autre, quoi.
ancestral home. I seek but one thing: to face the full force of the Raiden Shogun's blade and prove my power,
Ah, ok.
the might of Ishin art.
Lui, il veut juste prouver que c'est lui le plus fort.
So Amenoma Yuya was not your first victim. Tell me, what happens to those you've possessed when you've finished using them?
My hosts? Who cares what happens to them? They are but tools that serve my mission. When they got tired, or injured, or unusable, I hopped to the next one in line. All I needed them for was to take me back to Inazuma.
You're
Ils sont morts ou pas?
After I returned to Inazuma, I decided to bide my time in Nagato's warehouse until Amenoma Yuya handed himself over to me on a silver platter. At long last, I'm approaching my journey's destination. By Amenoma Yuya's body, I
Il
have
veut vraiment se
found
battre avec
you,
la Shogun, quoi.
and by your hand, I shall defeat the Raiden Shogun.
Du coup, pourquoi il va pas avoir directement la Shogun?
Kaidehara Kazuha, you stood against the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. There can be no other to serve
Ah
as
oui,
my
voilà.
host for what
Il
is
veut
to
prendre
come.
possession de Kazuha, ok.
Now, give your body over to me!
Ok, on va l'en empêcher.
Time to go.
Non, j'étais pas prêt, je Kazuha. Ok, on va voir si je veux vraiment l'acheter ou pas. Ah, attends, je sais plus ce qu'il peut faire lui.
Join me and
Ça fait quoi si je
sever
laisse
that
appuyer sur le
divine
feu?
light.
Aïe, bon.
The wind knows me.
Et voilà, mon épée en fait elle fait ça, elle fait des dégâts, elle fait du 1000. Alors que celle de Kazuha, du 700. Des petits 1000 par-ci par-là.
One with nature.
Ok.
Fallen leaves adorn my
Et son A, il fait quoi déjà? Je sais pas exactement, faudrait que je lise ses compétences parce que je comprends pas ce que ça fait.
There is no escape.
Ok, bon. On va aller le battre de
Not
toute façon.
stand in my way, or I will strike you down too.
Bon, t'inquiète, tu peux essayer.
Your bluff's fooling no one. You've lost.
Lost. I can never lose. It is this body that has reached its limit, nothing more. Even if you defeat me here, the one who falls will not be me, but this man.
Ouais, l'épée, faut la détruire.
He is but a puppet that can be replaced. I can take a new vessel at will. The end result is the same. I will end this wretch's life before you can lift a finger. And even if I were to lose my physical form, it is but a small setback. My consciousness shall endure. By any means necessary, and any medium available, I shall return and fulfill my destiny!
Ouais, ton destin.
Your fighting style.
C'est mon
It
destin.
is indeed the forms of Ishin art. But from your movements, I sense only hatred and arrogance, as well as a thinly veiled mania
tacle.
and despair.
Really? You can tell all that just from his moves?
As I've mentioned before, the forms of Ishin art convey the user's thoughts and feelings. Since the blade is currently possessing Amenoma Yuya's body, its movements express the innermost thoughts of the blade. If you ask me, the mania is probably due to your desperate, single-minded ambition. You believe I am
Il
your
a un
only
petit,
hope.
un petit cours en plus, il est
Are
gentil
you
Kazuha.
trying to claim that I am helpless without you? On his deathbed, he passed to me all of Ishin Art's secrets. The little that you know barely scratches the surface. In that regard, why would I ever need your help?
Because all of that is in the past. I've been wondering why you've not caused more trouble in all the years that you've been in Inazuma. If you are indeed a cursed blade that can possess its
Ouais, j'avoue.
owner.
En fait, il est pas si méchant que ça,
Now
là.
that I've seen inside your mind, everything finally makes sense. You weren't biding your time. You were trapped. After
Okay.
all the time that's passed, you have grown weak. To the point that you are now unable to acquire a new host without making physical
Ouais, faut quand même
contact.
qu'on touche l'épée.
Oh, that's right. Paimon remembers now. Mr. Nagato had a
Sinon, il
habit
aurait
of
pris possession
never
de
touching
Nagato.
his collectibles.
Only when Mr. Nagato witnessed his wife's distress and decided to sell his collectibles did you finally have an opportunity to reach out to Aminoma Yuya and make your escape.
And what of it?
Well, that brings me to my second point. There's a despair in you that is so strong it threatens to overwhelm you. You were determined to fulfill your maker's ambition, whatever the cost. But this ambition is too grand and too heavy for you to bear.
Eh ouais, la puissance, elle a baissé.
Each step you have taken has come at a great cost. I think you realized your limitations long ago. The more you clenched your teeth and pressed forward, the greater your fear of losing everything you had achieved grew, and the more you wished to run from the truth. But the way I see it, what began as an ambition has long since become a delusional fantasy.
What would you know about any of this? I'm just one step away from achieving my
Ouais, mais deux
goal.
doigts, c'est beaucoup, hein.
You returned to Inazuma to prove the unparalleled brilliance of Ishin art. But to make this arduous journey, you committed countless atrocities and showed a blatant disregard for human life. Even if you were to sever that divine light, is this truly the outcome that your maker would have desired?
Ah,
You...
Sure, you inherited the secrets of Ishin art. But even as you made your journey to honor this legacy, you treated the ones who wielded you as mere tools to do your bidding.
et ouais,
How could you
il correspondait
possibly
pas à l'épée.
unleash the full potential of Ishin art when you act in perfect discordance with the principle
Voilà, le
of
cœur et l'épée.
harmony
Putain, on
between
l'a
a
vu tout à l'heure,
blade
ça.
and its bearer?
Silence, you blabbering fool! I must achieve my goal. This was his life's dream, and the very purpose for which I was brought into being. I will concede that you are most perceptive. You see my predicament clearly.
And you should face reality.
Easy for you to say. Facing reality offers me nothing. I have no need of anything that would stand in my way. Not hesitation, not self-reflection,
Ok, comment on va faire là?
and certainly not your so-called reality. It is pointless to argue further, descendant of the Kaedahara clan.
Oh.
If you wish to
Attends, on va
save
prendre
this
l'épée.
man,
Enfin, Kazuha va prendre l'épée.
then
Et elle va
offer
devenir
me
bien et
your
tout,
body in
pas rouge,
exchange.
mais verte.
How stubbornly you stick to your wayward path. I do not believe for a second that you can challenge the almighty Shogun in your current state. So let us make a
Ok,
bet,
ah, on va tester sa
and I will
puissance.
put your strength to the test.
What? Surely you're not planning to agree to his demands.
Very well. Then find yourself some enemies with whom you wish to cross blades. A taste of my power will more than convince you.
Ok, on va appeler qui?
Once we have dealt with them, we shall proceed to Tenshukaku.
And as for your end of the bargain, if you lose, you must release Aminoma Yuya from your control.
I
Okay.
accept.
Marché conclu.
Don't do this, Kazuha!
This is the only way to save Aminoma Yuya. If we don't do this, he'll
Le
forever
pantin de
be the
l'épée.
Blade's puppet.
C'est moche.
The cursed blade's strength is currently very weak, and I sense he's hesitating. This suggests his heart is still not completely devoid of honor. The power of the Tatarigami lies in intensifying existing obsessions. This is the reason Mr. Nagato and Aminoma Yuya fell prey to it. Since I don't have any similar kinds of obsessions, I should be able to put up some resistance for a while.
Ok.
Even so...
Even if things take a turn for the worse, I still have you both here with me.
Ah, il nous fait
We
confiance.
have a chance here to save an
Ça, c'est beau.
innocent victim. I am willing to accept the risks entailed.
Your disdain for me betrays your woeful ignorance. I agreed to this bet because there are things I wish to learn too. Now, take me in your hand.
Prends-moi dans la main. Oh, c'est chelou de dire ça. Ok. J'accepte le destin. Oh, c'est pas si simple que ça.
Kazuha?
I'm okay. I felt a little dizzy at first, but only for a moment.
Ouais, il a pris
It's all
possession.
right. So far, this was as I expected. I will. Thank you.
What should we do next?
Vas-y, on reste avec toi,
You
t'inquiète
got
pas.
a plan, Kazuha?
We find some enemies. Although this blade has endured much turmoil, it probably hasn't experienced many real fights. If a blade built for Ishin art cannot enter a state of harmony between blade and bearer, it cannot unleash its true power. If he wants to avoid reality, then we need to fight until he has no choice but to face it. He shouldn't last long in an intense combat situation.
Wait a minute. Paimon remembers hearing about something from the Adventurers
Ah, on va
Guild.
aller faire une petite
Since
aventure.
the Takasukasa clan abandoned that secret base, it's been held by Ronin ever since.
Bah, parfait ça.
All right. Please lead the way.
Go taper la gueule à des gens.
What about Amano Mayuya? What should we do with him?
Bon, il va
The
rentrer
blade
chez lui.
says he'll let Aminoma Yuya trail us silently. Although he hasn't regained his own consciousness yet,
Ok.
he is not in any immediate danger.
Ok, il va nous suivre comme un
Pretty
pantin.
sure this is a good idea. It's a pretty treacherous journey. Okay, fine. Just be careful.
Ok, go. Go taper des noobs. Tac, c'est par là-bas, ça marche. Donc du coup, c'est par là-bas. Et c'est à côté de... Ok, domaine Kamisato. Ah bah oui, évidemment. Par contre, pour monter là-bas... Ah oui, je sais plus si c'est chiant. Est-ce que c'est simple en partant de là? Je sais plus. Il n'y a pas de TP en hauteur. On va voir ça. On va aller se fighter. Genre, il n'y avait pas des ennemis un peu plus proches, tu sais. En plus, ça va être des ennemis trop pourris, je suis sûr.
Faster? Okay, faster.
Ok, je vais escalader, hein, je pense. Hein. Ça devrait se faire. Oh, c'est pas si haut que ça au final. Ah, putain, il y avait ça. J'aurais pu prendre les trucs qui s'envolent. Bon, c'est pas grave, c'est rapide. Hop. C'est ici. Là, c'est un espèce de petit donjon quand même. 90 ou attends. Et là, on a encore Anemo. Ouais, mais ça se trouve, va y avoir Kazuha, ça se trouve. Vas-y, on va tenter comme ça. J'ai pas de perso Anemo. C'est pour ça que potentiellement, faudrait que j'invoque Kazuha. Voilà, c'était sûr.
Leave everything on this journey to me.
Il n'y avait pas besoin de se prendre la tête. Oh, salaud de base. Ah, je voulais essayer quelque chose. Est-ce que... Du coup, je peux voir... Quelle arme il a, lui? Ah oui, bah oui, je compte. Du coup, il a cette arme. D'accord, attaque pour 100. Et niveau artefact, c'est ancien rituel royal. On peut pas voir... Donc on peut pas voir les trucs de chaque artefact. Taux critique. Ok. Bon, ok. Moi j'ai fait un truc de fou là. Comment je fais pour faire ça? Attendez. Et ça c'est quoi? Ok. Ah, ça crée du vent. Si je fais juste un appui comme ça. Ça fait pas de dégâts par contre. Okay. Et du coup avec l'ulti, ça fait plus de dégâts peut-être, je sais pas.
How are you feeling? You okay?
I'm
Ok,
all
ce qui va
right.
bien.
The blade is performing largely as I expected. Having gone so long without proper use and maintenance, it's become very difficult to use.
Bon, elle a l'air de bien marcher. Hein.
Though he's making every effort to persevere, I do not think he can last much longer.
Something else on your mind?
How strange. Rather than trying to control me,
Eh ben oui,
he is instead trying to
pour
match
que
my fighting rhythm.
tu veuilles travailler avec elle.
Let's keep going.
Il va se faire avoir, Kazuha. On va devoir lui tirer l'épée des mains à tous les coups. Oh, un coffre. On s'en a pris le dernier? Oui, c'est bon. Y'a pas des pièges? 27 000 HP, putain, ça fait beaucoup. J'arrive pas à voir s'il est vraiment fort en fait, Kazuha. Après, si c'est fort combiné, parce que je crois que si je mets du genre du pyro, admettons, je mets le koba de Xiangling qui crache du feu, et que je fais ça, voilà, ça fait des dommages merde, d'air et pyro quoi. Donc normalement c'est fort.
Clouds high. The birds call.
Et pendant longtemps, j'ai cru que... Ah si, voilà, il peut se soigner aussi, Kazuha. J'ai gagné des HP. Parce qu'il me semblait qu'il pouvait soigner aussi. Peut-être pas, je sais pas.
Something's up with the blade.
I can sense that his strength is slowly fading away. The blade is becoming more and more difficult for me to wield.
Ok,
He
comment
cannot
ça se
hold
fait?
out much longer. If he keeps persisting, he will likely break apart at any moment.
But what would that do to Amanome Yuya?
Ah bah oui, faire
I will
gaffe.
be careful with it. He also says he does not have any plans to give up easily. He's still trying to achieve his goal.
Ah, c'est vrai qu'elle brille moins. Hein. Allez, faut faire gaffe. Pas faire le fou non plus. Sympa ce petit décor de donjon. Là. Ça me fait penser à une scène dans Pirates des Caraïbes. Où il y a des cages et des squelettes et des oiseaux qui mangent les yeux des gens. Bref, je sors du jeu. Ok, lui il est fort. Mais pas autant que moi. Waouh, il s'est retourné. Bien joué à lui. Ok.
The wind knows me.
Ok, c'est quand tu fais une attaque chargée, ça se trouve que ça heal. Attends, je vais réessayer. Si je laisse appuyer sur E, je laisse attaquer. Voilà. Si je laisse appuyer sur E,
One with nature.
hop. Ah, c'est ça, ok.
Time to go.
Ah, c'est pas mal en vrai.
As one with wind and cloud. The wind knows me.
Bon, je prends un peu tarif pour faire gaffe. Ok.
Are you okay? It looked like you were really struggling the entire fight.
Yes. And it looks like he's reached his limit.
Oh, il est pas si fort que ça en fait.
Grown a bit dimmer again. It doesn't look anywhere near as impressive as it did at the start.
Perhaps this time we'll finally have a chance to see his true form.
True form? What are you talking about?
Oh, oh, oh.
Huh? What the?
Un bâton de bois.
The same blade as before. It looks
Oh,
like
que c'est
a
moche.
junk.
Ah ouais, elle est abîmée, ouais. Ouais, des traces.
If you choose to continue in the state you're in, you wouldn't even be able to beat Samurai and Kairagi, much less the almighty Shogun.
Peut-être qu'il va la reforger, mais mieux.
Maybe you did truly wield power to rival the Shogun's light when first forged. But the long journey from Snezhnaya back to Inazuma has left you battered and broken. It barely needs stating anymore. Your ambition is a flight of fancy. I've finally figured out why it was that you agreed to my bet. You wanted to reach a state of harmony with me. For perhaps then you would still be able
oui, voilà.
to wield commendable power.
Faut que ce soit en harmonie
But
pour avoir de la
regrettably, we
puissance.
are nothing alike. I will never understand your obstinacy and cruelty, nor can I empathize with the one who made you. The only one who truly understood you had already passed away by the time you were born.
Ouais.
What's that supposed to mean?
Here they are! Take them down!
Oh putain. Ah mais du coup là, va peut-être falloir qu'on l'aide un peu.
Where do they keep coming from?
Ouais, ça va être chaud là.
Yep, we can
Ok,
help
c'est bon.
this time.
Don't worry. I'll use my own blade.
Ah,
It's just more of the same.
ok, c'est bon, il change d'épée. Et il peut poser l'autre comme ça et... Ok.
Wind strike.
Ok, là ça rigole pas. C'est cool, on a régène en plus. J'avoue, il est fort, hein, Kazuha, quand même. Mais oui, il doit être très fort combiné à d'autres choses. Ah, parce que là, ça prend même les... genre le pyro de cette torche, je crois. Tac, ouais, c'est ça. Oh, ouais, c'est fort du coup.
Wind strike.
Ok. Nice, nice, nice.
Way better with your own sword.
You are a true Kaedehara in flesh and in spirit. Though we fought briefly together, you have seen me for who I really am. No one knew anything of my story throughout my travels, nor did I tell it to anyone. You are the first person to know the
Ok, il va
truth.
devenir gentil peut-être.
I thought that if I could achieve Ishin harmony with you, perhaps there would still be a ray of hope for me.
But in this too, you have failed.
Merde.
Indeed. No matter how hard I tried, I could not attain that perfect harmony that your personal blade does with you.
Et ouais.
Too much time has passed.
Ouais, ton épée là, elle est pas top.
My
Hein.
physical state is poor, and without proper maintenance, I can only disguise my true appearance behind an outer sheen. Yours is the blade
Après, même
that
comme ça, elle est
took
quand
on
même
the
stylée, je trouve.
Muso no Hitotachi. And what a magnificent blade it is. Perhaps I shall never reach that level of glory.
Ouais, elle est au fond du trou, le machin.
Actually, this is just a generic blade that I picked up during my travels in Liyue.
What?
Forging and maintenance are both important for a blade, but they are not everything. This blade has traveled the land with me for many years, and we have formed a close bond during that time. Plus, in the moment that I most needed it,
Attends, pourquoi
I
le son il est bas là
received
d'un coup?
aid from another power.
Non, le
Skill,
son il est vachement bon.
blade, determination, and desire.
Ah, ok, c'était mon casque qui buguait.
All these must be aligned in the practice of Ishin art. There is something else I must tell you. Though your maker may not have been aware, your ability to possess your own consciousness derived from the power of the Tatarigami. Tatarigami is a malevolence from the ancient past. It is the source of your mania and savagery. Though you tried to cooperate with me while I was wielding you, the part of you driven by Tatarigami was constantly trying to seize control of my body.
Il a essayé de se faire contrôler quand même.
I sensed it, but I couldn't change it. It is an integral part of my consciousness.
I resisted its temptations because I wanted to save Amenoma Yuya. But I do not know whether you yourself have any intention of trying to fight it. I feel a great sense of regret for you. Since you embarked on a journey bound for a destination you were destined never to reach. The moment you embarked on this journey, you lost the only person who could have ever unleashed your true
Ah
potential.
ouais.
And yet there was no way for
Donc là,
you
il
to
pourra pas être
turn your
utilisé à
back on
plein
his
potentiel.
ambition. You have known this for a long time. It is the true source of your despair.
He gave me everything. My life, my form, my consciousness, and purpose. How could I possibly deny him his wish? I said to him, "Do not worry. From here on, I shall forge your legacy." How could I go back on my word?
Aww.
Oh, il fait de la peine un peu.
I believe our bet is now settled. I have nothing further to say.
Ok.
Where are you going, Kazuha?
He now has
c'est quoi la
neither
suite?
the ability nor the motivation to cause further harm. Let's give him some time to reflect on things.
Ah, ok. Oh, j'ai cru qu'on jouait lui. Bah alors, mec. Hop.
When I touched the hilt for the first time, it's as if I was transported to a strange dimension. It was somewhere I've never been. A bladesmith lay quietly on the bed, his frail face barely visible under the moonlight. His breaths were weak, and his life near its end. A newly forged blade lay by his side, listening attentively to his final words.
Ouais.
Wow. That was the Blade's memory, wasn't
okay.
it?
Indeed. While in exile in Snezhnaya, the bladesmith eventually learned the truth behind everything that had happened. The Ishin art had been dealt a devastating blow by the desertion of its best smiths. He spent the rest of his life in the forge, not to vent his frustration and hatred, but to atone for his actions. He felt intense regret at being tricked by the Fatui, but he could never again return to his homeland. His sole wish was to one day return his single, proudest creation back to the land of his birth. So he instructed this sentient blade to find a way back to Inazuma, no matter how long or how hard the journey. But he never wished to rival the gods. All he wanted to show was that they once shone brilliantly as blade and smith, that they were still worthy of being trusted.
So
C'est pour remonter
that's
l'estime
the
des
true
forgerons.
story. But after that, the blacksmith's intentions were worked by the Tatarigami, slowly turning his proud creation into the cursed blade of today.
Foutu Tatarigami.
I believe the bladesmith might never have known that the power he worked with was that of the Tatarigami. The hatred within that power is what sent the blade down its ill-fated path. This blade has committed unforgivable atrocities, but only because it lost its original master. No one was there to correct its errors when it was losing its way.
Shame it's too late now.
Yes. Time would not wait or stop because of his determination. While the world moved on, his ambition remained stubbornly stuck at that fleeting moment at the dawn of his journey. He seems to have calmed down, though. Let's go and check in.
Ok, retournons voir. Go. Go, retournez voir. Est-ce qu'il a réfléchi?
When I look back at the past, I can remember the day of my forging like it was just yesterday.
Ouais, alors que ça fait un
I
sacré bout
once
de temps
told
qu'il est en
him
chemin.
that I would pay any price to fulfill his wishes. Such was the debt I owed to him for giving me the gift of consciousness. But darkness and slaughter numbed the mind. Over time, I lost sight of the difference between gratitude and grudge. Not only did I fail to fulfill his ambition,
Eh ouais.
I also defiled it.
Là, t'as pas
You're
été bon.
finally seeing reality clearly.
Since we agreed to the terms of the
Est-ce
bet,
qu'ils vont pouvoir arranger
I
les
will
choses?
honor the agreement and release Amenoma Yuya. But I still cannot bring myself to forsake his ambition. It is the entire purpose for my existence. So, may I ask you to help me fulfill the ambitions of myself and my creator?
Hey! Now you're adding yours into the mix, too? Jeez, don't push your luck, mister.
Ah, il
It
abuse un
has
peu.
to be done in this order. At least hear what I have to say. And if you don't agree, I will still release Amenoma Yuya as promised. My physical
Okay.
form, as well as the knowledge I possess, should still be of some value to you.
On va récupérer la lame,
His
c'est trop
attitude
cool.
has grown a lot milder. What do you think, Kazuha? Should we give him a chance?
Let's hear it.
Il va nous raconter une histoire?
Thank you all. When I was first forged, my maker was already terminally ill. He told me that he had wanted me to have the grandest opening battle. Alas, after that, he never rose from his sickbed again. Nor
Ah bah
have
oui.
I ever had the chance to prove myself in battle since. My fights were devoid of any noble meaning. They were merely the next step in my never-ending journey.
Donc il faut qu'on
the
l'amène sur le champ de
next in a
bataille.
long line of transgressions. You are a fine warrior. I would like to request your hand in battle and experience a true duel between samurai.
Oh? And who would be the opponent?
Le
I
voyageur.
will release Amenoma Yuya and restore his consciousness. Perhaps after that, you can
Mais pourquoi?
convince him
Alors,
to
il est moins
commit
fort
to
que
a
nous, lui.
fight with you.
C'est un plot.
You must have plenty of reasons to both hate me and desire a good fight.
Understood. Then let's start by waking him up and seeing if he has the stamina and will to fight.
I see. He used my body to inflict harm on others.
Oh, il a l'air tout gentil comme
I
ça.
utterly despise him and his actions. But since he stayed true to your agreement by releasing me, he must still have some remaining semblance of honor. If a duel can help to set this state of affairs in order, I am willing to put myself forward.
Ok, mais c'est
I do
combat
not
jusqu'à la
wish
mort
to
ou...
be a mere victim in this story.
There's no need to worry. We'll vouch for your innocence to the Tenryo Commission.
Thanks for your help. Who knows how this would have ended without your intervention?
All right, then let's move on.
Ok, on
More
bouge.
Ronin could appear at any moment. We can't stay here. In any case, for a final duel, I think we should aim for a greater sense of ceremony.
Ok, il va y avoir une cérémonie, mais non. Oh, un coffre. Avec des trucs pas fous dedans, mais il y a un coffre. On crache pas dessus. Hein. Ok, ok. Là, le vœu de la lame maudite. Hop, pour ça, on va en bord de mer. On va se battre sur la playa. Oh, il fait un petit couinement, il est trop mignon. Ok. C'est là qu'on va se battre.
This reminds Paimon a bit of the Crux Clash.
Sur le coucher de soleil.
Yep, we still can't let our guard down. Even now, Paimon has a sneaking suspicion that Blade hasn't told us everything. Still, even if he's way past the point of redemption, it's hard not to feel.
Est-ce qu'il y a eu vraiment des
teensy bit
morts dans le
sorry
truc là?
for him.
Le
Are you ready?
collectionneur, il est mort ou pas?
Ready? Okay.
Ou il est en mauvais état et genre
Successor of Ishin Art,
on pourra le récupérer. Ok.
Kaidahara Kazuha.
Héritier de l'art.
Successor of Amenoma Art.
Ah bah oui, parce que du coup c'est les deux.
Honored to cross
Ils
blades.
représentent leurs deux écoles en gros.
It is my honor also.
Stylé ça. C'est stylé. Ok, on a un Kazuha. Bon, on va faire que boucher lui, hein, évidemment. On s'en doutait. Ah mais oui, par contre il a des petites astuces du coup. Wow. Bon, il n'y a pas beaucoup de dégâts, mais c'est des astuces qu'on n'a jamais vues. Ça c'est stylé. Ah si, on les a vus pour mais... Allez, viens là. Ok, t'es nul.
One with nature.
Stylé ça.
Time to go. That hurts.
Il est où, il est où?
Clouds high. The birds call.
Oh, il apparaît le truc.
The wind knows.
Ok. Ah, c'est stylé, si tu te bats dans l'eau, du coup, ça fait des dommages hydro. Ah, c'est sympa comme principe, n'empêche.
Thank you for the experience.
Ah bon, t'as bien défoncé.
Although he appears battered and broken, in your hands it seems he's regained a glimmer of brilliance. His sense of savage cruelty has completely faded away. But that same sense of determination remains strong.
You also fought well. I'm sure he relished the experience. There are a few things that I shall leave him to tell you himself.
I must apologize to you for all that has transpired.
Ah bah, tu peux,
You
oui.
need not seek my forgiveness, nor do I have the right to forgive you on your victim's behalf.
It is too late for all of that.
Attends, est-ce
I
qu'ils sont
do
morts?
not wish for forgiveness. I only hope that you will see my transgressions as mine alone and not let them stain the legacy of Ishin art. I strayed far from the straight and narrow path, but the Ishin art still has a worthy successor in Kaedehara Kazuha. I beseech
Kaedehara
you,
Kazuha.
please understand this.
Yes, I too trust Mr. Kaedehara to do the right thing.
Thank you, successor of Amenoma art.
Ok.
This blade has also told me that he has another wish. He would like to visit the Amenoma smithy. Maybe we can go back there together.
Allez, go.
What does he want to go there for?
I'm not sure, but I think that all this is about to come to an end.
Ah, bientôt la fin. Peut-être on s'approche des 1h30, je pense. Donc c'est peut-être la fin, effectivement. On va voir ça. Est-ce que la fin, en fait, on retourne au début? Genre l'épée, elle a été forgée. Mais non, elle a pas été forgée ici, l'épée. Bon, le mec qui a rien suivi, quoi. Qui a suivi toute l'histoire, mais qui retient rien. Le mec perdu, quoi. Qu'est-ce qu'elle va nous dire encore, l'épée?
Oh, it's Yuya! You have returned!
Oh, y a plus le mec qui
I am
forge.
sorry
Il a
to
fini
have
son
troubled
épée.
you. It's all thanks to them that I was able to return safely.
Ok, on raconte l'histoire.
A prized Ishin blade, turned weapon that controls the human mind. Considering their forging philosophy, this was indeed within the realm of possibility. This is a great pity. But I have some good news as well. Ryuji, from the Bonton Songo Detective Agency, tells me that they've found the missing Mr.
Avait été
Nagato.
retrouvé. Ben voilà, c'était sûr.
Really? Is he okay?
Il y a pas de mort, en fait.
Yes, badly wounded, but he will live.
Bon, après, le mec a peut-être perdu toute sa collection.
And now that Yuya is back, it seems like the final ending to this story is a happy one
Donc il
after
a
all.
toujours des dettes, tout ça.
I think I know what you want to do.
What's wrong, Kazuha? Is the blade whispering in your ear again?
Yes. He said he wants to take control of me for a brief moment.
What? No way! Hasn't it learned its lesson?
He tells me that he's thought of another way to fulfill his maker's wish. And he assures me that he won't use my body for anything nefarious. I have decided to let him do it.
Ouais, c'est bon, elle est sincère maintenant.
Guess there's nothing we can say to
Ouais,
change
dis, de toute
your
façon,
mind,
de
huh?
toute façon, on le
Thank
suit.
you. I will explain my reasons later. Okay. I am ready. Let us begin. Please, stay true to your
Ouais, il va y avoir une
promise.
cinématique là. Oh, la cinématique. Je parle pas, je me tais.
My power is almost spent. Without him, my eventual demise is inevitable. But if I abandon the future to give everything I have in this moment, my physical form can be forged anew.
Everything. You mean...
Yes, the cost is my entire consciousness. You were right. There's nothing that I can accomplish now. But there's still a chance for Ishin art. Once remade, I will be a valuable resource for your studies. Ishin lives on, and its finest hour is yet to come. Even if I am not the one to prove its might to the Shogun, as long as it is an Ishin blade, crafted by Kaedehara hands, it will still fulfill his final wish. Thank you, son of the Kaedehara clan. Over the years, my real name has been forgotten by all. I'm ashamed to utter it, yet it remains strong in my mind. Kagotsurube Ishin. This name is now yours to keep.
Rest in peace.
Comment c'est stylé. Cinématique stylée et l'épée.
So,
L'épée, elle claque. Hein.
that's why he
Donc du
said
coup, là,
it had
Kazuha,
to
elle a
be
une nouvelle
done
épée.
in that order. His consciousness will
Trop stylé, elle a plus une
disappear
épée trouvée sur la
forever
route.
after fulfilling the bladesmith's
Complètement nulle.
wish.
Elle est vraiment belle l'épée qui la forge.
Ishin.
On la voit pas là, dommage.
It seems like deep down he disapproved of his own actions, and thus chose to bury this name deep
Eh
within
ouais,
his
bien
heart.
sûr.
Only in the final moments, before his consciousness faded, was he willing to entrust it to another.
Seems like he really wanted to fulfill his maker's wish.
The same fervent ambition that gave him the motivation to keep going forward also fueled the stubborn determination that blinded him to the path ahead. Speaking for myself, I'd rather see him recognize and atone for his mistakes
Et ouais.
than see him punished for them. I understand. Perhaps this is a flaw in my personality. I've always been captivated by grand aspirations. Hearing his wish to rival the divine light touched something inside of me. Just as the sight of those who fought to repeal the Vision Hunt decree did. Your
Eh oui.
quest to face the gods and trace your sibling inspires me in the same way. After everything I've seen, perhaps these pursuits fascinate me a little more than they should.
Oh,
Elle est stylée Kazuha. Moi, c'est vraiment un perso que j'adore.
I will continue to support you from this point on. Know that you will have my assistance whenever you need it.
C'est cool.
wait.
J'espère qu'on le
Shouldn't we
reverra.
also go update Kujo Kamaji?
Oh,
Ah oui, c'est
you're
vrai.
right. We need to tell him about the findings of our investigation. And it's also time to give him a response to the offer he made me.
C'est vrai. Ok, go lui dire que c'est bon. Go lui dire que c'est bon. Tac, tac, tac. Là-bas, du coup. Paf. Parfait, parfait. Ok, il est à la statue, quoi. Ouais, on touche au but, hein. Là, ça sent la fin, par contre.
Ah, you've returned. I hear that the issue has been resolved.
Et ouais, tout a été
This was a
résolu.
treacherous investigation indeed. We're most fortunate that no lives were lost. The Tenryou Commission has already attended to the danger at the warehouse. The investigation into Amanoma Yuya should conclude soon. I do not believe he will be charged with any crime.
Wow, you sure kept your ear to the ground.
Then we needn't recount all the details again. Now, as to your earlier offer, I wish to give you my answer.
Ah oui, c'est vrai
Please
qu'il
take a look at this
il avait fait une
blade.
proposition, lui, putain.
What's this?
Ah, il est vraiment trop stylé. Hein. Regarde ça.
Kagotsurube Ishin, a weapon crafted using a long-lost blade forging art
Regarde
of the
ça.
Kaidahara clan. By
Assorti et
means
tout.
of a series of fortuitous events, I was able to recover and restore him. I also promised him that I will continue to study and pass on the secrets of Ishin art. And so, it looks like I will likely continue with my journey across the nations, learning more about this blade as I go.
I see. I understand.
Ah bah oui.
The Kaidahara clan has always been a family of bladesmiths, so it is only proper for me to continue on this path.
Donc il va se
Were I
remettre
to
à la
accept
forge.
your goodwill, I may find myself embroiled in conflicts between the shogunate and Sangonomiya. That would not suit me.
You misunderstand. That was most certainly not our intent.
I am aware, but I still desire to continue walking my own path.
Ouais,
Very well.
reste libre,
I can
Kazuha.
understand. Then let's pretend this offer was never raised. However, if you should ever change your mind or find yourself in need of the Shogunate's assistance, please do not hesitate to inform
Pas
me.
de soucis, hein. Il te
Great.
fera signe.
Thank you for your generosity.
Where will you travel to next, Kazuha?
I'll probably take to the seas with Captain Beidou again for now.
Ah bah c'est vrai qu'elle est,
As
il
for
est
my
avec Beidou.
next destination,
Oh, on l'a pas vu d'ailleurs.
let's see where the wind takes me.
Ok. Parfait. Une route sans fin, sans amis, pardon. C'est terminé pour la quête de Kazuha. Eh, c'était cool. C'était cool. En vrai, les dernières quêtes d'histoire de personnages, là, moi, je kiffais un peu moins. Donc, il y avait eu les Yellen. Je sais plus ce que c'était, celle d'avant. Mais ouais, il me semble que les 2-3 dernières, je les avais trouvées un peu moins cool. Là, avec Kazuha, j'ai bien aimé. Alors, Bon, peut-être que ça casse pas 3 pattes à un canard, mais je me sens pas ce délire d'épée et tout. Et puis de toute façon, bon, comme je disais tout à l'heure, le personnage de Kazuha, moi je le kiffe vraiment bien. Genre le design, je le trouve vraiment stylé. La voix qu'il a, je le trouve stylé. La mentalité, ses attaques et tout. Ouais, franchement, Kazuha, moi c'est... Alors sans parler de tout l'aspect dégâts, tout ça là, comment dire, utilitaire et tout, dans une team, juste le personnage en lui-même, j'avoue que je le kiffe bien quoi. J'aime bien quand il apparaît dans l'aventure. Il a une bonne présence et tout. Je le trouve vraiment stylé. Voilà, ça c'est mon avis. Hein, donc, n'hésitez pas à me dire si vous avez kiffé la quête, si pareil le personnage vous aimez bien ou si vous aimez pas. N'hésitez pas à me dire. Et voilà, je vous dis à la prochaine pour découvrir le reste de cette version 2.8, c'est que le début. Moi j'ai aussi pas mal de trucs à rattraper au niveau des quêtes, surtout tac tac tac, surtout au niveau de ça là. Toutes les fins à débloquer. Ça c'est le nouveau perso aussi je crois. Je vais peut-être essayer de le faire en vrai. Et puis voilà. Donc je vous dis à la prochaine. Je vous fais des bisous, prenez soin de vous. Bye bye.